And in life, there is a difference between moving and progressing. And I feel this MBA helps me to progress in my personal and professional development. Every professor and the whole management cares and tries to understand the needs of the students. So me, for example, I will not go for being a CEO of Luxair or whatever other unrealistic approach. But they really, really show that they care about the individual journey.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of WeCare, Sacred Heart University Luxembourg's podcast series. Here we will speak with Sacred Heart University Luxembourg alumni and students to learn about their unique stories and their experience in our programme. For 30 years, Sacred Heart University has worked to educate business professionals in Luxembourg through a thoughtfully designed curriculum taught by engaged and experienced faculty and practitioners. We care deeply about providing valuable educational opportunities. We care about our students, we care about our graduates, and we care about you. Maria Tzekov, 26 years old, is handling a position at the Philharmonie Luxembourg as Music Education Planning and Project Manager. She's working on the creation of different experiences for young audiences to listen to and interact with music. This opera singer has a Bachelor in Musicology and a Master in Art Management, both obtained in Vienna, Austria, her hometown. And my name is Tom Lonsdale, your host for this podcast. In this episode of We Care podcast series, she shares with us her background, what the Sacred Heart University Luxembourg part-time MBA brings to her, and her career expectations. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too, Tom.
So Anna, why did you choose to do an MBA at Sacred Heart University in Luxembourg?
Thank you very much for having me and showing also that you actually care about different and individual journeys in the whole context of Sacred Heart University MBA community. Because this is actually very important to create a connection between the students and to create a space where it's possible to learn from each other. So this is a great opportunity for me as well to reflect on my whole decision on why the MBA, why Luxembourg, and so on. Back to the question, how I ended up in Luxembourg, where the weather is heartwarming, because actually I come from the artistic side. So as Tom said in the beginning, I studied opera singing in Vienna, where I'm from originally. So in the beginning, my biggest dream was to become an opera singer, but a few things got in the way of that. And in the end, luckily, because the rescheduled plans fit even better for my future. And I switched from being on stage to being backstage, so being a music manager, where you might not get the applause, but what you do is create that space where art can develop and flourish and organize cultural events, inspire the audience with it. And at the moment, I'm working in the Philharmonie of Luxembourg, the magical place in Kirchberg, just right next to the Sacred Heart University, where I'm planning new concert formats for kids, for young audience. I chose the MBA to understand management separately from this whole art bubble I'm moving in right now. Because of course I did art management as a master, but doing an MBA is again something completely different. And development in general is personal and professional ways, not linear. So as Bastian Berg said in the first episode, growth comes with reflecting and challenging our skills, adding new perspectives, enriching our capacities. And in life, there is a difference between moving and progressing. And I feel this MBA helps me to progress in my personal and professional development. Because in the end, education provides people with tools and possibilities that are meant to be used in many different ways. So it's what we do out of it. What matters is what we make out of those tools, how we use them to make a difference. And for me, I want to gain new perspectives and new skills, new ways of thinking, of course, also, because every time I sit in those courses, I try to make the connection to art. So it's me who thinks about how the connection to art and culture can happen. And this is a very, very good exercise because it's not something that is pre-analyzed by anyone. It's me diving into two worlds and trying to connect them. And this is what makes the MBA for me so interesting, because it's something that has on the surface maybe not so much to do with music or what I'm doing, but it enriches my whole work and makes me take those new learned skills and integrate them in my current work, which is by itself already bringing me forward in my whole career. And yes, offers new paths.
You obviously cared about your professional future very early on in your career. Do you feel like that's helped you quite a lot?
Yes, I mean, of course, every journey is different, and maybe it's not so much about how early you start with something, but how much you can identify with it, how much you are committed. So, for example, in the artistic business, also in sport, the two big non-verbal forces of the world, you have to start as a child, because as a child, you have to know your direction for what you're practicing that much. And because competition is hard and competition will get you at some point. I see it also with my brother, who is a violinist. He's very young and he's super strong and excellent musician. I deeply admire him. But it's hard business because you start young. It doesn't mean that you will do this forever. And here I would like to refer to my first course I had in the MBA program, which is called Organizational Psychology, taught by the wonderful Markus Müller, which I also want to thank for all those inspiring moments in this course. And we had a topic on passion. Passion can take two directions, harmonious and obsessive. In the art business, it is very likely you can very easily slide into this obsessive passion because the identification with the instrument and or the music is so strong that at some point you get the impression, if I fail on stage, I fail in life. And for me, as I started very early being on stage and being confronted with this passion that comes from the inside, but is meeting external factors that could make it turn into obsessive passion, I have to say I chose, after I realized that stage is not my future, I chose the art management, and it made me just a better art manager to have seen and been, let's say, this other side. Maybe in the end, just because we start early with something, it makes us dive into this whole topic. But during life, as the example is now with doing this MBA on top, which is actually not a very common thing to do in the art business, it's just how much you can identify with what you're doing and how much you're committed, and then just go for it and stick to this.
Sacred Heart University cares a lot about its students. Could you take us through how you felt they accompanied you on the program?
So I have to say, at the beginning, of course, I was a bit lost in this whole decision phase. Should I do an MBA? Which university? When? But already, I remember at this point, even before I had chosen to do the MBA, the Sacred Heart University helped me with deciding and providing information. So they reached out to me immediately the moment when I asked for information or help. And I even had a talk with Antoine Rech, administrative director. And so he was super supportive from the beginning onwards. He even took the time to go through my whole possible schedule of courses I could take in those 2 years. And especially, he talked with me about what it could bring me individually. So in my current situation, in the context of my work, in the context of music business. So the goals are actually really defined individually. And it's clear, of course, every professor and the whole management cares and tries to understand the needs of the students. So me, for example, I will not go for being a CEO of Luxair or whatever other unrealistic approach. But they really show that they care about the individual journey. And it feels also that the management tries to show the students that they enrich the whole program in the end, all of them together. Because when they focus on their needs, they can develop individually, which makes the whole group and community grow. And as I mentioned already, I started in February, so it's not so long ago, February 21, with the course Organizational Psychology with Professor Markus Müller, which I have to say, super inspiring course. And it was the first course I took. So it was from the beginning onwards, so my whole program nourished with motivation. And this whole course, just with the help of Marcus, of course, who makes you focus, who can make you think and reflect on your own, which is the end goal of everything in life. You have to know your own opinion about things, to understand how you think about certain stuff. So it was a great start, I have to say. And now, of course, we don't have to lie. So challenging, it is challenging. Nothing is only butterflies, right? But it has to challenge. It has to challenge, and the MBA is challenging. It's tough sometimes, but it has to be. It has to make us grow. I'm happy for the support. There is a lot of support, I have to say. And through all of this, also getting to know myself better in the whole journey of the MBA. We can never stop learning and developing our own toolbox.
Well, thank you so much, Anna. If, like Anna, you want to give your career a boost and improve your skills, the part-time MBA at Sacred Heart University in Luxembourg is an impactful program to consider. As you've heard, our team will take care of you and your learning experience with us. See you soon for more stories. Thank you.